Hey, hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions and NoDiceGaming, bringing you game number 2 of tonight's show match. We have KellerMaN going up against AkaRi, and let's go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning in the upper right-hand portion here on Yonsu Ladder Edition, it is going to be NoDiceGaming's KellerMaN. And spawning in the lower left-hand corner with a very convincing victory last game, it is going to be NoDiceGaming's AkaRi. So, PvZ on Yonsu should be interesting. Now, this map is going to be a little bit better for that blink play that we saw coming out of KellerMaN. You've got a lot of extra surface area to blink up in and out of the main, so it should be a little bit more positive for that. So we'll have to see whether or not KellerMaN's going to go for a similar type build. Now, he is actually opting for the pylon down in the low ground, which is a little bit interesting. I'll be interested to see whether or not this is actually a gateway or a forge fast expand. I casted the Top Dog League Series final, and I saw several attempts at doing a gateway expand off of this. So I'll be interested to see whether or not KellerMaN's going to follow suit, or if he's going to just stick with a typical forge fast expand. Anyways, it looks like AkaRi's going to be coming in here, doing a little bit of scouting, checking on what's going on. And actually, he's going to scout that since the forge hasn't been planted down quite yet, he's going to pretty much know that this is definitely going to be a Nexus first. So he's going to feel pretty happy about that and go ahead and plant down his hatchery ASAP. Get his economy rolling. We do have a little bit of shenanigans fighting back and forth. Nexus will go down with no denied. So KellerMaN is looking pretty good so far. Now this probe is getting poked. Needs to be very careful not to lose that. Only 5 health left. So spawning pool now going down for AkaRi, and yeah, things are pretty much shipping up how we would expect at this point. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes as far as the mid game. We're going to see that forge get planted down, and he's going to play that more passive style. Usually with a forge fast expand, we see a lot of Stargate type play. It kind of makes sense as the follow-up, just because you're kind of turtled a little bit, and the Stargate gives you the flexibility of getting some map presence, as well as clearing up a lot of the overlords that are spread out across the map. So should be a good option for him. Now we do have everything pretty much going pretty well for AkaRi. Going to be taking down that third base, since he knows he's not going to be seeing any pressure anytime soon with the forge going down. So things are definitely looking up. So, AkaRi played very, very Ling heavy last game, so we'll have to see whether or not he's going to continue going that route. I would say that this map really isn't a proponent of that. There's not really many opportunities. Obviously, you've got this kind of like flank area here if your opponent takes this base, but other than that, there's not really a whole lot of major optimization that Lings can have for you on this map. So just getting a little bit of scouting done. Actually sees the probes, so he's going to go deal with that. Now, KellerMaN does see the third base going down, so he does know that his opponent is playing a little bit on the greedy side, going to be playing more of a macro-focused game, and probably isn't going to be seeing a whole lot of pressure anytime soon. But at the same time, he's going to need to do a little bit of pressure himself and potentially deny that, some of the droning that would normally happen on a 3-base Zerg. So, a lot of times Zerg players, they just go straight for that third base, pretty much bypass all units, and just happily drone until about the 7-minute mark, and then they just start pumping in the gases and just going absolutely bonkers on units. So the Zealot is going to be coming out here, and actually looks like KellerMaN's looking to try and get a proxy pylon. Either a proxy pylon or maybe even take a very, very quick third himself, which would be interesting. Now, we do have that Stargate going ahead and getting planted down, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Definitely wants to get that map presence out there and try and get a little bit more vision as far as what's going on. He's probably pretty comfortable in what his opponent's doing, pretty confident that he's going to be looking against, a very heavily droned Zerg. So a whole bunch of, wow, he's like super saturated at his natural. Going to be taking those extra 2 gases down there as he did last game. Kind of interesting to see the gases go down in on the natural as opposed to in the main. I'll have to ask him about that afterwards, because I personally I don't know why you would take these as opposed to these. Maybe just to confuse your opponent a little bit and give him the perspective of maybe you having 4 gases. That's probably what it is. Maybe do a little bit of psychology nonsense on him. So KellerMaN and AkaRi just pretty much happily probing up. Not really seeing a whole lot. Now, this is kind of an interesting twist. We have an Oracle play. You really don't see the Oracle in this matchup, so I'll be interested to see how much damage actually gets done. So third base is going to be coming up here for KellerMaN, so he does want to go ahead and start to really focus on getting his economy rolling. Going to be focusing down these rocks to give him a little bit more flexibility, and he'll probably finish walling this off, I would guess, just to give him kind of that one avenue of in and out of his base. So Oracle walking around looking for stuff, not really finding a whole lot. Is he actually going to use that? Okay. I was like, wait a second, this Oracle needs to be going and like doing something. Anyways, we do have a Void Ray coming out, so he's going to play for a very, very aggressive type play. You know, Oracle's definitely going to be able to clean up a lot of these lings really quick. And actually, these lings are going to come in here and scout the extra gateways, as well as the third base up already. So I would say about now is kind of when AkaRi is going to be looking to put on some units. I mean, we pretty much only have queens and drones at this point. He is going to go ahead and start his Glial reconstitution, and I would assume that would mean that we're also going to be seeing a lot of roaches come out here. Now, the queens are actually in a position, and that Oracle is going down very, very quickly. Definitely an interesting little twist there. So, not getting a whole lot done with that Oracle, that's for sure. Void Ray's going to take out some of these Overlords. I'm sure that this Overlord will get picked off here very shortly. And yeah, both players just pretty much happily getting up their economies, getting things rolling just the way that they want them, so that way they can start to turn on the heat here a little bit. Now, so we've got some pretty good creep spread coming out of AkaRi. He's about halfway across the map at around the 10-minute mark, so got lots of queens out there doing their job, and that creep is just continuing to creep out little by little. So still no real tech options. I mean, Colossus are on the way, so he's going to be focusing probably a Zealot, Void Ray, Colossus, and maybe throw in a handful of Stalkers. Probably won't see a whole lot, but probably just a couple to kind of have that backline army to help out with the Colossus. So anyways, plus 1 ground weapons. Actually, that's a really late +1. But +1 attack is going to be finishing up here for our Protoss player, while +1 is actually going to be finishing up for the Zerg player. So, you know, AkaRi's been doing really, really good. You know, while there's not a whole lot going on, and both players are just pretty much happily getting, or, you know, AkaRi was happily getting drones the entire game. I mean, he's sitting on 80 drones. That's a lot of drones. I mean, now we do have an attack coming in here and actually fully getting into the front here. He just waltzed right in, said, you know what, I don't really care about your units. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go straight for your main. Roach is definitely going to get a lot of damage done, but this army is more or less going to get cleaned up. So basically the main damage that got done here was just straight economy. You know, not a whole lot of probes got pulled down to the main, and this is now going to get cleaned up. And ooh, we do have a couple burrowed lings, which is going to be very nice. So once KellerMaN moves this army off, he's definitely going to unburrow those and probably take down this pylon and try and get, you know, minimize the amount of production that Stargate's going to have. So kind of interesting. He's probably also going to wait for a handful of more probes. But I'd say overall things are looking pretty good. 6 lings out on the way, as well as 4 swarm hosts. So it looks like he's going to be playing a little bit more of a siege style. Pylon just barely going to get taken out, and it looks like KellerMaN's in a little bit of has a little bit of an issue. You know, looking at the supply, being down by 60 supply is a very, very big supply deficit, as creep is just now encroaching on the third, and you know, it's going to be very, very easy for AkaRi to just stream units over to his opponents, as we do have the first set of locusts now showing up at KellerMaN's third. And where are those? Okay, they're moving back here. So he's definitely trying to get his swarm host in a decent enough location. Now the Lings are going to be coming back here to try and be that backup that he needs. And you know, KellerMaN at this point, he just kind of wants to sit back, get up his forces, because he really doesn't have a big enough force to really take this on. But I do think his composition is pretty well rounded for what he's up against. So Link's going to be trying to focus down this +2 ground weapons, and actually it looks like that might be just enough for that to go down. And AkaRi is definitely taking a very commanding lead as his +2 attack is finishing up. Now we do have 9 Corruptors on the way, so his army composition is going to be well more advanced than his opponents. I mean, Swarm Hosts, Roach, Ling, Corruptor. I think that is definitely AkaRi's secret sauce. But we do have KellerMaN trying to push out, trying to get himself into a good enough position to actually get some results done. One Colossus is going to get just barely not picked off, but it does look like we could be seeing a base raid scenario. We have Ling streaming in here over to the third. The third base for AkaRi is being contested. Corruptor's coming in here trying to get as much damage done as possible, but we do see a recall, and it does look like the third base will go down. And it looks like things might be in big trouble, as KellerMaN's economy just took a plummet for the worse. And yeah, it's definitely going to be very, very difficult for KellerMaN to get back into it. Now, I'm not sure why everything is still running a little bit slow. I've got a little bit of lag issues on my end. We'll have to try and troubleshoot that in between games, see if we can optimize that a little bit better. Could very well be the fact that I'm like cat streaming and recording at the same time on my other media recorder. So KellerMaN looking to push out maybe a little bit, try to get himself ready to take a fourth base, but it is looking very, very difficult for him. You know, the uphill battle that he's going to be fighting is definitely going to increase as time continues to go on. You know, 4 base production out of AkaRi, as well as a 5th base just now being taken. You know, KellerMaN's doing a very, very good job getting in here, but the question of the day is, will he have enough units, and how will AkaRi respond? So he's going to try and get in here and focus down the 3rd base. The Locusts are now coming in, trying to kind of flank the army, maybe pick off a handful of the Colossus. But we do have another recall coming in, and it does look like he's going to go back and try and protect his 3rd base, as the 3rd base just now finished up. Roach is definitely going to get to pick off that Colossus. But yeah, you know, it really boils down to who is going to, you know, be in the better position for that epic battle. Right now, with KellerMaN's unit deficiency, it's going to be very, very hard for him to take a very positive engagement. So, and it looks like AkaRi is just trying to bait him into this kind of corner, as we do have all the Locusts and all these Queens and Corruptors just storming across the field, and a couple of the Stalkers are going to get picked off and be like, hello, there's an army here. Broodlords are already out. Totally missed that. Locusts coming in here are going to be picking off a handful of these, at least one of the Colossus, and even maybe the second. And the Void Rays are going to try and focus down on this 5th base. But I don't know. Is there Mothership Core doesn't quite have enough energy for a recall. Now we do have a couple of Vipers out on the field. Corruptors coming in here trying to get some damage done. The Void Rays will charge up though, and with some decent transfuses, looks like AkaRi is going to have just enough. The question is there going to be a recall in time? He's got to focus down the Mothership Core. We got about 3 more seconds, but KellerMaN's going to go ahead and call GG, giving AkaRi game number 2.